talking with Randy Kessler, celebrity divorce lawyer out of Atlanta, about his dealing with pro athletes, actresses, models. And one of the more fascinating aspects of family law that I did not anticipate having to learn or know that I would need is having a relationship with media consultants in the defense of dealing with false rumors and speculation. And there's, as we're recording this, a lot of rumors and speculation about Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen's divorce that can't all be true by definition. Some people have them reconciling, some people have them already at the divorce lawyer level. Then there may be a time that would benefit our client to plan a story in the media for whatever reason, maybe to assist negotiations, shall we say, or not. But then also dealing with emergency response to rumors in social media, regardless of whether they're true or not. If they're true, you definitely want to get ahead of it. If it's not true, you want to deny it and get ahead of it that way. So, Randy, what do you tell your celebrity clients about dealing with and working with media consultants during the divorce?
Wow, how much time do we have? I could talk about this for hours. There's so many different opinions. So just like in any profession, there are great media consultants and there are bad ones. There's people that just want to get their name out there. There are people that want to do right by their client. The biggest conflict we have sometimes with media consultants, I mean, their whole job most of the time is to get their people out there in front of their public and their audience. So they want to get exposure. It's good to be on the cover of People magazine or to be on CNN or to be on Fox. It's, usually for people that make their money by having a fan base, the more they're in front of them, the better. And for our situations, it's usually the exact opposite, right? We don't want them talking about the stuff that's going on in their personal life that they don't want to talk about. So we sometimes have that conflict. If they trust their media folks and they like them, we work with them and we try to explain those things. But jumping ahead to something else you said about getting ahead of it, I've come to understand that even though it's usually not really good to be out there in public talking about your own, nuances or idiosyncrasies or peccadillos or whatever you want to call them. A lawyer, a media consultant once told me, if you ain't explaining your story, someone else is going to be explaining it, right? So sometimes it's a one-time release. There's an issue, everyone in the world is talking about it. Here's my side. You can remember a couple in the past, there was the Tiger Woods situation, and it looked scripted and I don't think it went off so well. And there was the Kobe Bryant situation where, he was apparently caught cheating on his wife, but he gave a really sincere apology and it was from his mouth. It wasn't a PDF of something that was distributed, and he was authentic. And I think it was well done. But it was one time, right? It wasn't answer this question, answer that question, have a press conference. It was, let me think deeply and sincerely about how I want to react. I want to own it and I want to address it. And I think that's the way to handle situations like that. Don't put it out there if it's not going to get out there. But if it's out there, then they want to hear from the horse's mouth. It's sort of like I think about, I do a lot of court TV coverage, and we always talk about, should the defendant testify in a criminal case? And I don't do a lot of criminal stuff, right? I do family law, civil stuff. But I always think if I was handling one of those, it's hard to resist having your client stand up there and say, look at me, I didn't do it. I mean, if I was on the jury, I'd want to hear from the person that's accused saying that they didn't do it so that I could judge their credibility. So I think in the publicity arena, it's good if you have somebody, especially who's an actor and well-trained, to be able to be authentic or to appear authentic, that they get out in front of it and it comes from their mouth, so to speak, not their advocates, not a statement from their lawyers, not a statement from their PR people, but something from them is generally. But again, there are 100 different ways this could go, depending on the person, the facts, the case, the jurisdiction, the lawyers, and what the facts that they're talking about are.
My experience with media consultants has been generally positive because I feel like as a divorce lawyer, I'm somewhat pigeonholed and sometimes a little bit more narrow in my thinking than I would otherwise like to believe that I'm narrow. It's not my lane. Media consulting is not my lane. It's not going to be my lane. And there are many statements that I know my client wants to say when he or she is facing some type of notoriety associated with the matter. And it's not going to go well because nothing that they say is going to help their cause. Even if they own it, and they don't own it. A lot of times it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, in my experience. But I'd much rather have a media consultant that I trust and like on the team than not, because they are much better than me in predicting what the next level of that story is going to be.
Well, what you're saying shows why you're an excellent top-notch divorce lawyer, because what a good divorce lawyer, in my opinion, does is knows what they're good at and knows what they're not good at. You know, you're great at forensic accounting. You have that degree and that background as well. I can understand tax terms, but you know what? I'm going to get a forensic accountant for complicated financial situations. I'm going to get a forensic psychologist when there's psychological issues. I'm going to get a private investigator. I'm going to get an internet specialist to figure out what's going on. You know, knowing that we're not media trained professionals, we are divorce lawyers, family lawyers. If you have that issue, it's good to have that expertise and to defer to them. We may have a difference of opinion, but I have discussions and I say, tell me why you think it's good to talk about this, or why it's good not to talk about this, and have them explain their reasoning to me, and I give them my thoughts, and then I go with what they suggest because they're who's hired by the client. You know, all I can do is advise and give my opinion. But you're right.
Well, as a follow-up to that, Randy, I don't know about you, but I run into situations where I don't know. Let's say I'm getting a media request from a particular reporter, okay? And as you know, the reporters move around the country and they pop up, and somebody could be really important, and I don't know them because whatever reason I didn't know they came in from a different place and came from Chicago, let's say that. I don't know who I can trust and who I can't trust. Have you run into that situation where you wanted to be able to get some information out of there, but you couldn't know that you could trust that particular reporter?
Yeah, that's why you go to the consultant, and that's why you hedge your bets and you're very careful. I have found that the good media, the national media, are generally trustworthy, and a lot of people might be surprised to hear me say that, but they're building their career too. One story for them usually won't make or break their career. Now, there are cases where they might say anything because this is that big, but often it's just they've got to feel some content. They're not writing one story in their career; they're writing a story every day, and they've got to come up with material. So they want us as their sources, and they want our trust because they know that we'll help them. So I found them, pretty trustworthy when you say this is off the record, but I still wouldn't say things off the record that I would be really devastated if they found their way onto the record. So I've learned, I know who I can trust, but I still have to play close to the vest. And again, it shouldn't be me. It should be the media consultant. It's only, when you have a new star that doesn't have a media person, and we get the calls all the time. TMZ and others would often call and say, can you send me the divorce petition? I'll say, I'm not sending you anything. I don't want it to come from me. If you find something from somebody else, that's on you. But that just didn't feel good. Or do you have a comment? No. I mean, I have a duty to tell my client that I got the call and let them deal with it however they want. And if they say, well, give me the reporter's name, I want to talk to him, I got to do it. I give them my advice, but I'm not making those decisions. Those are not my decisions to make about whether to release something or not.